Kansas game?
Haven't seen
Or
it.
Kentucky? You haven't looked? Haven't seen it.
I was going to say, that question's pretty presumptuous, huh? Nothing jumped out at me. I have seen it. You know, the game is Monday, and so we still have time to go back and start to fine-tune things. In the last couple of days, it's been more about our growth and us getting better, more so than it is, you know, preparing for Kansas. We'll start that, you know, probably today or tomorrow. You know, but with such a young team, you know, so much has to go into us. But they're good. They're good.
What did you see from your own tapes then?
We have a long way to go. You know, I think it could be easy if you look at the final score and get a false sense of security about where we are. But we have a long way to go at both ends of the floor.
How has a fellow Harrington helped Henry Sims' development?
He's a great sounding board in that, you know, there's nothing, you know, I think I'm right about this, do some fact checking, and if I'm wrong, then don't write it. But, you know, I think he was first team All-American and coming out of high school. He was, I think, first team, second team in college, and spent a very long time in the league. And, you know, just having someone that can sit and talk to you and sit and explain things to you that he's gone through. And I think a lot of Henry's development goes back to Henry. I mean, Henry's growing up. Henry, I think, understands the responsibility that he has. And when you come in as a freshman, sophomore, you're just kind of wandering around. And then all of a sudden, senior gets here and you realize, oof, I'm not coming back next year. And I need to start to get a little more serious and take steps to prepare myself for what's going to be the next phase in life. And if I don't do some of that now, later on it'll be too late.
He said he put in a lot of work, as did all your guys over the summer, but what things specifically do you think he has sharpened up and really improved on? I mean, he's had two really solid games.
I think what Henry has to focus on, you know, what I've been kind of hammering home with him is Henry has to make the hustle plays. I think when Henry can get himself in trouble if he starts to be a playmaker, if he starts to think about scoring, but he does pretty well when just effort. And I said it, I think to one of you guys after that first game, where he had however many points he had, but almost all of those points came off of he ran really hard and got a good position. He went after an offensive rebound. You know, it came off of effort. And he just needs to make the effort plays, and everything else will fall in line.
You need that effort against Robinson. Talk about the challenges he poses your young team.
He poses, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. He's pretty aggressive. He's extreme. He's a physical. I mean, he's extremely physical presence. He's a physical presence. He's strong. And so, as with most things with us, you know, it has to be a group effort. You know, we have to try to stop them as opposed to person X on our team trying to stop Thomas. And so, you know, we'll see.
Markel was saying that his early foul trouble, he was saying that it was a dumb play by him. I don't know if you would use such a strong word, but did you think he was just being a little too aggressive out there and need to calm down a little bit?
Well, a couple of things. I mean, I made the decision, I think in both games, after he got 2 fouls, not to put him in. I wouldn't consider that foul trouble. And that's not necessarily a pattern that we go through. I think that it was as much a case of okay, let me get some other guys, give some other guys this opportunity as it was, Markel's in foul trouble. But I think he was making effort. He was making hustle plays. He was making, you know, the mistakes were made trying to do something good, trying to do something positive. So we're fine with that.
Along the lines of, you talked about Henry's maturation over time, Hollis this year early on at least appears to matured on the court, perhaps from, he said, a little bit from the NBA experience, going through the draft process, learning what he needed to do to get to that next level. What have you seen that type of maturity out of him, or what have you noticed different from him this year?
No, I think Hollis is the same. I mean, I haven't seen this. I mean, physically, he's invested in his body, and that's, I think. But other than that, I think he's. I mean, and the same in that he's a year older. I mean, there's nothing necessarily glaring. I think, and I hope that he continues to have an appreciation, and not to beat a dead horse, but in talking about the things I was talking about relative to Henry, an appreciation that, you know, it's great to say a 6, whatever he is, what he said the other day, 8 and a half, 6, 8.5 inch guard. If you don't rebound, you have to. He has to continue to get appreciation for all parts of the game.
Henry said, I think, maybe fair to, I don't know how you would characterize your relationship with Henry, but it seems like you guys, you pretty hard on him, but you guys also kind of smile your way through it at the same time. What
did Henry say?
He said, yeah, you're hard on him, and that you have been.
And they deserved it.
And that you deserved it.
Most of my college career, I hated my coach. And I love the man to death. Right now, I realized later that almost everything he said to me, I thought he was crazy. He was right, and I was wrong. Now, Henry and I did not have the same relationship I had with Coach Carell. But it's not about not being hard on people just because they don't want you to. I mean, Henry's a young man. He's growing up, and he has to be ready for life when he leaves here. And that's on the court and off. And it's not a pretty fun world all the time. And he's had similar experiences in here on the court that hopefully will prepare him for when he gets out in the real world.
Were free throws something he emphasized this summer? And it's a very, very small sample size, but he's shooting 1,000% right now.
How many does he take?
5 for 5. But you know, I want to say career, he's like 57%, somewhere in that range.
And honest answer is I don't remember him focusing on foul shooting.
Okay.
But if you want to work that in, just go ahead. Yes, Sim spent hours and hours
Okay.
on his foul shot.
Okay.
What's your schedule going to be like once you hit Hawaii? Will the guys have some non-basketball time at all? Or?
Very little, and that's not just me. It's pretty tight and compact. Once we get there, we get there tomorrow night. I think we're gonna get there until 10, 11 o'clock, and then there's a couple of tournament functions Saturdays, tournament functions Sunday. We start games on Monday, and then depending on win or lose, be a really quick turnaround. So I mean, it's one of these trips. It's the exact antithesis of our China trip. For the China trip, hey, we're going cultural growth, visits, sightseeing. This is very much a business trip, and we're approaching it as such.
You guys played in Charleston last year. Do you think that these in-season tournaments are a good way to prepare for the Big East tournament? Hopefully, I mean you're going to play 3 quality teams in 3 days, and so that is the similarity with last year's tournament. This tournament is very same. So in theory, at least it prepares you as a coaching staff for a short turnaround, as a player, as a team for a short turnaround, having to go against a quality opponent. Now the difference is, by the time the Big East tournament rolls around, even though it's a quick turnaround, you know who you're going up against, you know what they're going to do, they know what you're going to do, whereas in this tournament, not knowing exactly who you're going to play is probably a little more, I don't want to say it's not more challenging than Big East, but it's a different hurdle, it's a different kind of preparation. But in theory, yes, it does prepare.
The time change and the amount of travel you have, I mean, how much of that is a concern? Or?
It is a concern, or it's part of the process. Most of the teams probably are going through, I'm trying to think who's from the West Coast. UCLA's out there, Chaminade's obviously there. But everyone's going through travel. It's not a factor. It's not a factor. We do get there late Friday night, island time, and we don't play until Monday.
Do you guys charter?
To Hawaii now.
So you stop in San Francisco?
San Francisco. Dallas, I think it's Dallas, it's national. DC to San Francisco, San Francisco to Maui.
Yes. Talking to a bunch of the guys, they already said this team's really close, but do you see these preseason tournaments as a way for the team to kind of get closer and get to know each other a little more?
I think that's another one of those things where you'd say, in theory, that's the answer. I think we've had enough experiences, and with the summer trip, they've been together more than most teams at this point, at this particular juncture. With that being said, we are, about to travel halfway across the world, and we're going to be gone for 5-6 days together.
Has Tyler progressed any, his ankle?
He has. He's still not 100%. But I said this after Saturday's game that he could have played. Then he got out there a little bit Monday. You could tell he was gimping around still. He's still gimping around. But he's better today than he was Monday, but he's still not 100%.
You expect him to get minutes out there in Hawaii?
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Entering practices in like preseason and stuff, like you can look theoretically and say this guy's been working on particular things or getting stronger, but what have you seen, with no really player in particular, but just expectation-wise, like what you thought going in and what you've seen after the first couple games?
I don't want to be funny. Can you ask that a different way? I'm not sure what you're asking.
Like, you can look theoretically and say Henry Sims been working on free throws, or he's been, putting in more hours at the gym or whatever. But then applying that to games gives a totally different result. You can say he's doing this, but is it showing on the court? Do you think, in your opinion, that what you expected going into the season is actually happening on the court?
Just from the group?
Yeah.
From the group? It's too early to tell, I guess. And I don't want to answer this. I'm still kind of confused. But, our guys I've gone through the first two games, have gone about things the way I would have expected through the first two games. Now, we enter a whole different realm, a whole different level out in Hawaii. And so I think, you look at our schedule and you break down the season, and this is, an early checkpoint to see where you are, to see where you stand, with enough time between now and conference play where you can continue to improve upon what we find, what we see out there. Did I answer that kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you indulge me with one question, Henry? Did he kind of maybe feel footsteps of some of the freshmen? I mean, there's some really good players behind him. Is that something that can serve as a season-long motivation for him? He has started as your starting center. He knows there's some good players that could replace him if he slips.
Did you ask him that?
I did not.
Okay. Because you got to ask him whether he hears the footsteps.
Yeah,
I can't answer whether he hears the footsteps.
I just thought of it, sorry.
I think the reality of our team is, and I've said this as it relates to, and you guys are the quote-unquote usual suspects, I guess, but the usual suspects in our post-game, we have a team this year that, as it relates to lineups, I can go in many different directions, just because of the versatility of our younger guys. And could that affect him? Absolutely.
Thank you,
Did I
guys.
answer that the way